Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmasters club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Christina, your Sergeant at Arms. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is the premium club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has a virtual hand raised so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our TMOD will be who will lead our meeting is Toastmasters Hannah. Hannah, by profession, Hannah is leading with authenticity is being genuine and honest, and to serve with a purpose, to strive for excellence in all she does. Please help me welcome our TMOD, Hannah.
Thank you very much, Madam SAA Christina, for the introduction. Good day, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Welcome to today's meeting themed Leading with Authenticity. What defines an authentic leader? Or rather, I shall ask, what is leading with authenticity? Leading with authenticity is not about pretending to be perfect or copying others. Your actions, your communication, your decisions align with your core values. And that involves being genuine, honest, and true to oneself. It also means building trust through integrity, treating others with respect, serving with a purpose, and aiming for excellence, embodying the core values of a true Toastmaster. These leaders are genuine, truthful, and truth to their identity. In a world where we wear many masks to fit in, authentic leaders have the courage to stand up to their values, voice, and character. Team members feel respected and empowered to take that responsibility, ultimately boosting performance. May today's speeches and evaluations inspire us to lead with authenticity and sincerity. Because without authenticity, who are we truly aspiring to become? A quote from Brené Brown answers this question. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we are supposed to be and embracing who we are. This is why Leadership Speak is so well known. We are the premier club, as read before, I repeat it, premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become self-directed leaders. Our esteemed guests, you can witness this metamorphosis of leadership in action. To be part of this exciting journey and witness how we lead with authenticity, please take a moment to complete the guest book which will appear in the chat box. Thank you very much, our Zoom master, our PR master. Thank you. The executive team members, or some of them, will contact you afterwards. Thank you very much. Let us now begin this meeting by raising a toast, as it is with our tradition. And for that, I'll invite a member from Mexico. Helen, please raise the toast.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Many people think leadership is about having all the right answers. But in my experience, leadership is often about having the courage to say what needs to be said, even when it's uncomfortable. For a long time, I tended to stay silent whenever I wanted to avoid conflict. It felt easier, but over time, I realized that staying silent doesn't solve a problem. Most of the time, it simply delays it. I saw this at work. There were times when I disagreed with my supervisor, but I kept my thoughts to myself. I believe my job was simply to follow instructions, not to share my perspective, because I was a student. The same thing happened at home. I often disagreed with my mother. She always had a reason for what she said or did. And instead of expressing my own opinion, I usually choose to stay quiet. Looking back, I wasn't lacking intelligence, experience, authority. What I was lacking was authenticity. Because authentic leadership is not about speaking loaded. It's not about proving that we are right. It's about speaking honestly, acting according to our values, and having the courage to be ourselves, especially when it's difficult. So as the meeting begins, I'd like to invite each of you to reflect on a simple question. Where in your life do you need a little more courage to be authentic? Ladies and gentlemen, please unmute your microphones, turn on your cameras, and raise your glasses. Here is to leadership with authenticity.
Here is to
Leadership
Leadership
and
authenticity.
Yes.
Cheers.
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 Back to you, TMOD, Hannah.
Helen, thank you very much. Definitely. And authentic leaders have all the correct answers for our members to be. Thank you. And now we jump to the other side of the world, to the Philippines. And Nellie Jane, our timer, she will explain her roles and show her lights. Over to you, Nelly, yeah, Nelly Jane.
Thank you so much, TMOD Hannah. And good day to you, my fellow Toastmasters and to honorable guests. I am Nelly, your timer for today's meeting, and I will time each speaker according to agenda using virtual background colors, which is green, yellow, and red. After each segment, I will post the timing results once code planned on the chat. Thank you so much, and back to you, Team LD Hannah.
Thank you very much, Nelly Jane. Now we are really globe hopping because now we go to Africa and we introduce our grammarian with a word of the day. Over to you, Joyce.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and good day, Toastmasters and guests. I am elated to be your grammarian today. And as a grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. And as a grammarian, it is my duty to introduce the word of the day. And for today's meeting, the word of the day is congruent. It's an adjective, and the meaning, it's an agreement, harmony, or alignment. It describes something that matches or is consistent with something else. An example in a sentence is, there must be congruent messaging for effective leadership. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Joyce. And you will occasionally also put it into the chat box that we are reminded of that word. Thank you. Now we stay in Africa. And we have our educational speaker today. Ladies and gentlemen, our educational speaker, Robin, has the answer about leading with authenticity. May I invite Joyce? Wow. As his evaluator, please to read the objectives of his speech.
Thank you again. I'm back now wearing another hat as an evaluator. So I'm pleased to be evaluating Robin this evening. He has prepared a speech and is preparing to speak professionally for 18 to 22 minutes. And his objective is to present a keynote in a style speech to exemplify a professional level speaker's to point of view or message in a style that supports the speech content. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Joyce. Robin, he is from South Africa, the bottom of the Africa. He's a Toastmaster for over 25 years. And, well, as he said, he's supposedly to be a retired accountant. Although his wife calls him a grumpy old man, he prefers to see himself as a quiet troublemaker. That's why today's theme revolves around this idea. Please help me welcome Robin. Lead with authenticity. Lead with authenticity. Robin, over to you.
Thank you very much, Hannah. And yes, leading with authenticity has been a challenge and a theme of my life for quite a long time. So let me take you back. Let me take you back nearly 50 years ago. That's when I first actually joined Toastmasters. And how it happened, I just qualified as an accountant. And as it so happened, there was in my country an accountants club, Toastmasters club. You had to be an accountant to be a member. And I was a brand new professional accountant, and I joined the club. Now, I discovered in my course of my experience and training as an accountant that this profession was hopelessly corrupt, almost as corrupt as the legal profession. Sorry, lawyers, I know some of you are here, some accountants too, but there we go. So when it came to my turn to give a speech. I think it was probably the third speech or so. I laid into their profession, and I exposed, or thought I was exposing, all the corruption that was present in this profession. It's still corrupt, by the way, 50 years later, so nothing much has changed. Now, these people that I was talking to, many of them were to become leaders or were leaders in the profession. So this was not the best way I could sort of make a statement that would be heard. Not the way to win friends and influence people. But that was my nature. It still is to a large degree. My evaluator came back and he commented. He was very kind. He didn't whitewash. No. But he did tell me something that I've never forgotten. And that is, he said to me, your voice carries power. With your voice, you can build up or you can tear apart. Every message you give has the potential of doing just that. I had not demonstrated leading with authenticity. I was just plain rude. So there we go. Now today, this week, in fact, I was at a Toastmasters meeting, an in-person meeting, and one of the senior Toastmasters stood up and said at that meeting, you know, the things we talk about at Toastmasters are really irrelevant. They are not, nothing we say is controversial or actually will rock the boat or will bring about change, any meaningful change in society. And he cited a rule. He'd come to Toastmasters through the youth leadership program. And he cited the rule that he had drummed into him in youth leadership. And that is, we never talk about politics, we never talk about religion, and we definitely never talk about sex. Do you know, there is no such rule in Toastmasters. No such rule at all. In fact, there's no such rule that you only have to use good language, or you can't use bad language. No such rule. There is a principle that we always consider the audience we're talking to. And I think I've never heard that principle being broken at any Toastmasters meeting, except, of course, the one that I addressed all those years ago. I did leave Toastmasters, so I haven't been with Toastmasters 50 years. I rejoined probably about 20 years later. I got on with other things in my life. But I do want to say that rule, and I've lived under that kind of rule in this country, is one of the most deadly and dangerous rules that one can have in any society. In other words, it's a restriction on one of our biggest values, and that is the freedom to lead with authenticity, the freedom to say what needs to be said. That rule leads to a false sense of being congruent, retaining harmony, while at the same time enabling injustice, corruption, racism, and you can go on and on. That rule has been used to turn good people into criminals. It's happened in my country, and it's happening in some of yours. It's a rule that enabled Nazism, apartheid, hatred of the foreigners and the others. It is one of the most pernicious and damaging rules that has ever been set up. And that's what he was talking about, because when we have rules like that, many other restrictive rules, then we actually stifle debate, we stifle thinking, and we shut down honest discussion. And then we definitely do not lead with authenticity. One of the most profound events I ever attended in my Toastmasters career, which I want to share with you, was a speechcraft that I attended nearly 30 years ago. I was a very new Toastmaster, and I'd been asked to come and just help. It was quite a big event, and they needed other Toastmasters to come and help with things like timing and those sort of functions. And it was run at the University of Cape Town. Now, at that stage, South Africa was a very new democracy. And this was a institute that the university had formed at that time for lawyers, which was called the Institute of Peace and Justice. It was for lawyers from all over the world. But no, not from the Western countries with well-established legal systems. They were from countries such as Zimbabwe, South Africa, Afghanistan, Cambodia, all these countries where legal systems had broken down because of the regimes that had been in place in those countries at that time. I remember very distinctly that there was a woman, a lawyer, who was busy trying to build up the legal system in Afghanistan. Afghanistan. Yeah, Afghanistan. There were other people there who actually could not even give us their real given names. To do so would be a death sentence and be a great risk. These were people that I saw leading with authenticity, regardless of what they were facing. Even my own country, we were trying to rebuild the legal system from the ravages of apartheid. And that process carries on. Now, I wonder if you go back and think, what has happened to that woman from Afghanistan? Where is she today? What has happened to the legal system that they were trying to redevelop? What do we have to say about that? Surely we have something to say about it. It really is quite important. Could you have Toastmasters in Afghanistan? I don't know. And what on earth would it be like? But let's turn it down. I'm getting far too serious. And this is not a reality I'm aware that most of us face. But we do belong to organizations, and we do participate in societies in various ways, even with Toastmasters. So let's go down now to the world of just organizations, ordinary organizations like Toastmasters, like the businesses, like the boardrooms that many of us occupy. Talk about that. Perhaps there we will find that we can lead with authenticity. But here again, we are confronted with a series of rules, of jargon, corporate type of language, procedures, processes, which actually can stifle our ability to actually be to be authentic. The value of harmony, being congruent, actually seems to trump everything. That's where we go. We don't want to rock the boat. This very week, I've attended 2 board meetings, and I saw this at both of them. People actually either keeping silent or finding ways of actually making what was bad appear good. It was extraordinary. I'm an accountant. I'm an apartheid accountant. I was trained how to cook the books. And that's a reality that might shock some of you, but it's true. And I saw somebody this week who is not an accountant actually turn a massive loss into a profit. I couldn't believe it. I thought, gosh, I can't even do this. Not with all the experience and training I have. I cannot do it, at least not to that degree. And it was just through shifting language, using a strange sort of positive language, putting positive spin on what was actually very bad. You know, the kind of language we use is so powerful, and you can do amazing things with it. Finding congruity is actually a key value that we all seem to have. It's an institutional value. Don't rock the boat. Let's rather stay positive. Leading with authenticity requires that we do something that is actually quite extraordinary. We have to say what needs to be said. We really do. If we don't, then we are putting institutions at risk. We're putting Toastmasters clubs at risk. We're putting nations at risk. Leading with authenticity is actually something that we all need to strive for. We all need to do. I've found that when I speak out at a meeting, so it's a board meeting or any meeting, that there are other people in the room that actually want to say the same thing, but they lack the courage to say it, and can only say something once it's been voiced by me or by somebody else. I want to get back to the issue of when you can speak out, because you can only speak out when you've earned that right to do so. 50 years ago, when I spoke out at that Toastmasters meeting for accountants, I had not earned the right to do that. I didn't begin to have the right to do that because I had no relationship with these people at all. It was not the right time. It was not appropriate. I needed to go through what they taught me, needed to go through a process of actually developing relationships, developing even alliances before one can actually just come in with what needs to be said. We also have to realize that, of course, other people have other points of view. So my point of view is not the one that is necessarily the one that will be accepted by everybody. And I understand that fully. Even though I'm always right, I know that. But other people also believe they're also right. And I think we have to accept that the other points of view are equally important. It's about building people up. Before doing anything, is building people up and then doing what one has to do to say what needs to be said. I was at a board meeting this week when one of the senior people, actually another accountant, started discussing with me, and actually I could see was working from a very uninformed position. So what I did is I stopped the discussion then and there and said, listen, we're going to take this offline. We're going to meet somewhere and we're going to get together and over a cup of coffee, and then we will discuss this at that stage, rather than it becoming a shouting match between him and me with a winner or a loser. We didn't want that, and he agreed to that. So that was an example of me seeking to build relationship before actually being able to persuade him to my point of view. So over the years, I've learned this. I've learned you just don't attack. You actually put yourself in a position where the other person will listen. And for that, one needs time and one needs investment in relationships. That is the essence of leading with authenticity. Sometimes I found that leading in this way is lonely, it's frustrating, but that's what this world needs, surely. Those are the people that we need to have. And yes, sometimes they're going to be wrong. I've been wrong many, many times. But I think it's something to strive for. And I will continue to do that. And I seek not to upset people, but to express whatever viewpoint I have. And I believe that I need to be heard and that people will listen, provided I've taken the trouble to build up a relationship. What about you? What kind of leading are you doing? Are you seeking just to be congruent, not rock the boat? Or are you sitting there with something on your mind that really needs to be said? I'm going to say to you and challenge yourself, let's hear it. I want to know what it is. I might not agree, I might agree. But only in that way can we go forward. Can we build our clubs? Can we build our society in a positive way? And if you have that rule about no politics, religion, or sex, please get rid of it. It's not, it's not a desirable rule, and it's a very destructive rule. So, back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Unmute. Let me just unmute myself. Thank you very much, Robin. Dear guests and visitors, do you aspire to become an unstoppable, authentic leader? Then please complete the guest book. Ghada, thank you. We now introduce 4 more inspiring speakers, each bringing a distinct perspective from their fields, ready to inform, engage, and provide us with insights to reflect and to apply beyond this meeting. What you learn inside Toastmasters, you take outside of Toastmasters. Our globe hopping now takes us back to Canada. Our first speaker, Ray, from Canada, and he will be evaluated back to Europe. Marie, please read the objectives of Ray's speech.
Yes, thank you very much. Do you hear me? Okay. So, Ray Rivero will speak about a speech about the path Persuasive Influence Level 5, Project 50. Reflect on your path, 10 to 12 minutes. Present a speech that shares the experience completing this path, including the progress made, the skills learned and developed, as well as a celebration of the achievement in a style that supports the speech content. Why specific approach, connection with the public, clarity of structure, and delivery tools, gesture, voice, and so on, that allow these 2 objectives to be achieved. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Marie. DTM Ray, he is a charter member of Leadership Speak, and he aims to strengthen interpersonal communication and public speaking skills. He wants to develop leadership skills in complex situations and devise innovative solutions to challenges. Please help me welcome Ray. Changing priorities from contests to leadership. Changing priorities from contests to leadership. Ray.
Persuasive influence to chase a goal. But then, along the way, my goals changed mid-path. Has this happened to you? Members of Leadership Speak and guests. Life happens. Your priorities change. What seemed important then was not important now. And then you saw a fork in the road and you decide, I'll take it. It happens. And I can share with you, through the use of each of the levels from persuasive influence, how this persuaded me. Whenever I work on a contest speech, well, come to think of it, any speech, It's always important to figure out how I'm going to structure this speech so that I can connect with you. That's the ultimate goal of any speech, and that is something that we try to learn here at Toastmasters International. In level 1, I usually present that I'd like evaluation and feedback as my favorite project from level 1. It's always going to be there because I get to learn something new about evaluation and something even better about feedback so that I can use that and speak again. But with speeches, there is another project. Writing a speech with a purpose. Because when it comes to contest speeches, it's important that you connect, especially with the judges, so that you can win the contest and move on. But on a serious matter, the audience asks this one question. What's in it for me? Why are you delivering this speech? So I'm going to tell them what I'm about to tell them, and then tell them what I told them by organizing my speech into an intro, body, and conclusion, and learning how to do that more and more efficiently as I do more and more speeches. That's why I like the writing a speech with a purpose, because it gives me a good idea of where to begin. And then I'm going to diverge from this congruence of going for the goal of speech contest because there's another matter that's just as important. Leadership. After all, we are a club with the name leaderships in our club name. And it's important that we learn a little bit about leadership through understanding your leadership style. Did you know that among the 11 paths, not counting the 2 new legacy paths, understanding your leadership style appears in 8 of the 11 paths? At least the paths where 5 of them are no longer available for purchase. Now, every leadership opportunity presents itself, both here in Toastmasters and outside of it. And the 8 leadership styles that are presented here gives an idea. There might be members of your team that are inexperienced and requires more involvement, or there might be members of your team that have experience and know kind of what to do, but just need a slight guidance. Either way, as a leader, you have a primary style, but that's in your comfort zone. And guess what? Sometimes as a leader, you have to step out of your comfort zone. And you have to come back with some better ideas and strength to carry out your role as a leader. That's one of the things I've learned about leadership. And guess what? Every opportunity that presents itself, they're based on experience, but no 2 leadership opportunities are ever going to be alike. That's why it's important that we embrace it, learn from it, and apply it, especially for the next time. Because there will be a next time. Now, back to my original goal of doing well in a contest. I needed to craft a speech that I hope would take me as far as I can go. And I also have this congruence to complete levels and paths for my clubs to get their DCP points. What could I use? There is this project called Understanding Conflict Level Resolution from level 3 and Persuasive Influence, and I couldn't really figure out what project to use. How many of you wake up in the mornings and say to yourself, this is a great day. I'm ready to have an argument. Huh? Not me. I avoid it like the plague if I have to. But the life is, we have to deal with it. And the most common area is within our families. And that's what I used as a subject for my contest speech. The family vacation. In this corner, I have my wife with her ideas. Dear, I just love to just go to Puerto Rico and enjoy a week in the sun. On the other corner is my son, the whiny teenager. Dad, why do we have to listen to Mom? I want to be with my friends. For the record, members and guests, those aren't their actual voices. But I use that conflict to demonstrate how we resolved our issue to come to an agreeable compromise. And you know something about that speech? It got me to the International Speech Contest for District 28 in 2025. I didn't win, but what I found out along the way is that I found a particular speaking style that I actually liked, that I could embrace, that could flow from me. And then I realized also something else. The preparations that I had to put in, the energy, all that stuff was just draining me. It also didn't help that speech contest where it held at the busiest time of the year for me, December through March, because December are the holidays. January is my wife's birthday. February is my birthday. March is my son's birthday. And now he's on a swim team in high school. That if my time is represented by a big piece of sheep cake, I only get a little tiny slice of it. Something had to give. Something had to change. But I also noticed there was another goal that I had in the background that seemed more attractive. I wanted to see if I could complete all of my remaining open paths. I had 3. So let me see what type of work and project I have to do. Thank goodness that we can see Pathways Basecamp on our cellular phones. Boop, 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 boop. Who put this in here? What the hell? I got 12 projects to do. 2 from level 4, from level 5, in 3 paths, and then I had 3 more to reflect on my path. Oh. And then October 2025, it won't even matter. There must have been somebody at the board of directors at Toastmasters International that said, we heard that Rivero is trying to complete all of these levels and paths and for his clubs. Let's make it complicated. Let's add some rules. Let's bring back the education series. So that's 8 more speeches because one of them is a legacy pathways path. I don't have to do either one of those. So for those of you who have to struggle through those paths by doing all those roles and education speeches, I'm sorry. My fault. I'll take the blame. But I did find a project in Persuasive Influence that actually was pretty good. So I was scheduled to present a project. Okay, this is going to be pretty easy. All right, 5 to 7 minute speech, rate, and then give it to the evaluator. Evaluator gives me criteria. Advice. Ah, good. Check it off. Bing. Oh, wait a minute. Read the project, Ray. That's very important because under the objectives for leading in difficult situation in size 1 font, I need to have 3 Toastmasters analyze my plan. Whoops. Long story short, I got the 3 Toastmasters to help me out. Thank you for helping me. I'm sorry, my fault. I'll take the blame, but this turned out to be a good project because whenever we present a proposal, a project, we don't know all the answers. We're at the beginning of the big long race. And there's going to be something along the way that we need to change it. So having additional perspective, this project is set up as with a 5 to 7 minute speech and basically 3 table topics sliced together. It's a great project if you have a proposal and you needed some help and some ideas on how to deal with it. Now, level 5. Sometimes you get to have not 1 speech, but 2 for your projects. And a high performance leadership project is a mandatory project that requires 2 speeches. Where am I going to get the idea? Well, let the subconscious in your mind think about it after you read your speech thoroughly. And sometimes that idea drops at your feet like an Amazon package at your doorstep. Now, long story short, I had to do 3 presentations for my son's Boy Scout troop. And so what did I do? I took a project that was supposed to take 6 months and stretched it to 13, make sure it fits well. Because I had 3 presentations. First 2 were okay. Developing skills, being aware of safety training videos, and there was something about this website where they record their progress in their education. They changed it on me. I think somebody from the board of directors, Toastmasters International, talked to the board of directors over at Scouting America and just said, this Rivero character, you better watch out for him, make things more difficult for him. My fault. I'll take the blame. I'm sorry. So overall, when it comes to your goals, it has to be congruent with what you are. Expect the change to happen, but you aim to be a better person, better you. Leadership is included in all this, so no 2 situations are alike. I know it doesn't sound congruent, but it is. Expect changes. Follow your passion. Expect speeches to appear out of nowhere, based on your ideas that you planted in your subconscious mind. And by the way, if something happens that doesn't seem to be very cooperative, I'm sorry, my fault. I'll take the blame. And by the way, be a better you. I hope that whatever goals you set, you take advantage of what's available in these projects and share with all everybody at Toastmasters what you did and we learn from each other. Madam Toastmaster.
Right. Thank you very much. Indeed, his path from persuasive influence has let him connect with the audience in a well-presented and organized speech. Ray, that character. Don't be sorry. At Leadership Speak, we are all your friends. And to be all our friends or our visitors, be our friends and sign the guest book, please. That would be super. Thank you. Our second speaker, we stay in the Americas. Our second speaker is Ghada, but we hop over to India to find her evaluator. Kanav, please read the objectives of Ghada's speech.
Thank you, Hannah. Toastmaster Ghada will be giving level 5, project 4 of motivational strategies, which is about lesson learned. She will be telling about lesson learned during any of her leadership project or after completion of it. So we will be learning what she learned during her project. So that's it. I will be evaluating based on that. And she specifically asked me to look on the structure of the speech and the idea flow. So I'll be telling that as well. That's it. I will be coming back whenever the general evaluator calls me back to the Toastmaster Hana.
Thank you very much, Kanav. Ghada tells me that leading with authenticity requires honest self-awareness of who we are and what our intentions are, and then acting in alignment with them. Please help me welcome Ghada, the student chair. The student chair, Ghada, over to you.
Thank you, Hannah. For years, imagine I kept finding myself in the same place. Yes, with different situations, different people, and also different circumstances, but the same confusion and the same dead end. I was not unlucky, I was simply not learning. Every time something hurt me, I sat in the same chair, asked the same questions, and arrived at the same conclusion. I was spinning, yes, returning to the same struggle and wounds, repeating the same pattern, wondering why nothing ever changed. I was so busy feeling what happened that I never stopped to understand it. And so life kept me and sent me the same lesson, dressed in different faces, until I was finally ready to sit down and learn it. That's what I want to talk to you about today. Not the pain itself, but the chair you sit in when it arrives. I admit that I lost confidence in who I am because of painful struggles and memories I would not release. I was, yes, the kind of person who might felt unworthy when a close friend avoided listening to me, or might diminished when a family member left the room while I needed him. I wasn't looking to learn anything. I was looking to be understood. Every time I replayed those moments, I was sitting in the same chair, asking the same questions, arriving at the same place. That chair had a name, you all know it, the victim's chair. And it was the most expensive seat I ever occupied because the price was years of my life. This victim's chair faces backward. It blames everything and everyone. It always asks, why is this happening to me, with other questions that feel honest because they come from the wound. But every answer produces another question that had more blame, more pain, more struggle, more loops. The mind stays busy, but it goes nowhere. While the learner chair faces forward, the questions are different. Here, we think about what was actually happening in that moment. What does this reveal about me? What was life trying to show me? What can I from this that I did not have before? It is not a comfortable chair at all, but it is the most useful one you'll ever sit in, because it moves you forward to the author's chair. The author's chair where you arrive after you have learned. From here, you are no longer defined by what happened. You decide what it meant. You decide what comes next. Most people who keep repeating the same suffering have simply never been shown that a different chair exists. Now, from this learner's chair, I can go back to the scene and see it differently. The people who pulled away, they may have done this because they didn't know how to sit with anyone else's pain. Pulling away was not rejection. It was their limit, their own unfinished story. When I understand that, I can accept it. And when I accept it, I can finally let it go. So, before you leave, think of the experience that keeps returning in your life. Ask yourself honestly, have I ever sat in the learner's chair with this? Not to relive it, but to truly understand it. Not to extract what it came to teach you. Because a lesson understood is a mistake you'll never have to repeat. And a life lived from the learner's chair is a life congruent with your own growth. Sit down, learn it, then get up and write a different story. Thank you. Back to you, Hannah.
Ghada, thank you very much. And dear kids, do you want to be in that most expensive student's chair? Then Leadership Speak is the place, and therefore, what an experience you will have. We globe hop back to Africa for our third speaker, Rashmi from Tanzania. And Rozy will read her objectives. Over to you, Rozy. Please read Rashmi's objectives.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Rashmi is delivering her project 4 of level 1, whose objectives are quite fundamental for any communication, which is to deliver a speech, receive feedback, and learn to apply that feedback. Rashmi has asked me to look out for whether her message lands and whether her structure is aligned and works well. Therefore, fellow Toastmasters, as we listen to her, let's look out for whether her message is congruent with any stories, examples that she delivers. Thank you very much, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster. All the best, Rashmi.
Thank you very much, Rozy. Rashmi is a founder of EduCraft Global, who values authenticity, clarity, and a meaningful expression in all she creates. Leadership with authenticity is about leading with truth, consistency, and staying aligned with one's values. All from Rashmi. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Rashmi, the power of yes. The power of yes, Rashmi. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As a child, I often wondered that the leader who is speaking in front of me speaks so flawlessly. Will I ever be able to speak like them? Will I ever to be clear, concise, and connect with everyone in the room? And in my mind, I thought, how can that be? I'm so shy. I'm an introvert. But that remains a story. And as the years roll by, today, back then, I realized I moved on as a professional from auditor to accountant to chief accountant, from moving from countries from India to Oman and eventually now in Tanzania. And it remains at every presentation and every aspect where I work. When it came to me and questions were raised, fear always grappled me. And I thought, when is it the next time I will be able to speak on the stage? And that's when, one of the evenings when we were sitting with our friends, our friend mentioned about Toastmasters. And I was not sure if I heard that correctly. So I repeated, did you say Toastmasters? And I asked again, Toastmasters? And they said, yes, Toastmasters. And the next day, the next meeting, I was there at the Toastmasters meeting. And I was amazed at how well they spoke. They conveyed the message with clarity. And immediately, as soon as the vice president membership came to me and asked, would you like to become Toastmaster? I said, yes. I took and immediately accepted. That was what one yes did to me. And I will come to that now. From then on, it was one role, one meeting, one speech at a time. And slowly, what did that create? What did that give me? It gave me confidence to speak in front of audience. It made me a better listener. It made me develop my leadership skills. And it inspired others who were engaging with me. I could connect with them. I impacted by bringing their elevation. And slowly, I realized what that power of yes did to me. And that's when I went ahead. And when my immediate past president, Dr. Atul Shankar, asked me, why don't you join Leadership Speak? It will give you a great opportunity. And I thought about it. And I was immediately in congruence with the idea of growth and leadership and the challenge that Leadership Speak will give me as an advanced club. And so here am I today. I said yes to that opportunity, and I'm here to grow my every speech. And this, at Leadership Speak, it challenges me, and every time it's not just a speech, it's sharing ideas that can change and impact the audiences and everyone who listens. So here I will say that word, the power of yes, the one yes. If I break it down in 3 alphabets, Y is for yearn for more to do better and be better every day. The word E is for exploring possibilities, coming out of your comfort zone and explore growth, opportunities, meet the challenges, and say yes. S is for say yes. And friends, that's the power of yes. Yes has created in me the skills. If it has done for me, I will explore you all and leave with this question. What you all have one thing that is waiting and sitting on your door and knocking, and for which yes needs one simple yes from you. I challenge you to go for it, as this change is brought by simple yes, and the road is open for you all also. Take that and walk through the door. And that's the power of yes that I challenge you with. Thank you. And over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Rashmi, thank you very much. Although all the attendees have heard about Toastmasters and especially leadership speak, I'm sure your power of yes will encourage the guests and visitors to sign the guest book. Thank you very much. We stay in Africa, and our fourth speaker is Wahiga. Yet we jump to Mexico to get the evaluation from Helen. Would you kindly read the objectives of Wahiga's speech?
Hello, Hannah. Our speaker, Wahiga, will deliver a speech from the Better Speaker series. Organize your speech, and the speech will be 10 to 15 minutes long. And Wahiga has requested that I focus on my evaluation on the following areas: presentation style, clarity, and personalization of content. Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you very much, Helen. Wahiga is from Kenya, and she's a leadership coach and trainer, and has been a Toastmaster for 10 years. Please help me welcome Wahiga, the spine. The spine, Wahiga. Over to you.
A moment to share my screen. When is the last time, or could you remember a moment when you listened to a speech and got confused? And perhaps can't even remember what the speech was about? What impression did you have in mind about the speech or the speaker? Credible? Persuasive? On the same breath, I want you to think of a speech that lives rent-free in your mind. What connects you with the speech, and what stands out for you? I have many speeches that live rent-free in my own mind. And one of those is I See Something by Hatarachi, a winner for the International Speech Contest in 2014. Perhaps it's because I'm looking for many things that people have seen in me, but yes, it sticks with me. And for those speeches that run freely in my mind, one thing stands out: the speaker knowing what to say, when to say it for impact. And today, I will be speaking on organizing your speech, the backbone of every great speech. Now, when I began speaking, I would take a topic and I would have so many thoughts around it, great thoughts. And one of the challenges I had is one of the thoughts that I thought, it's so good, it's so nice, it must fit somewhere. But somehow it's not fitting anywhere, but it's so good. And so you have competing thoughts. They're all rampant together and they're just competing with each other. And one of the people who was helping me with the speech noticed that. And there's something to say that sticks with me today. To say, you could have a great idea, you could have great stories, great support in terms of statistics, in terms of facts, in terms of expert opinion. But if they are all standing alone, then the people are competing to know what your intention was. In fact, people don't get you. And she said this to me, that anything that has no structure, that has no spine, can't hold together. And today I was trying to think about the image that would reflect that level of, that would reflect a person with many ideas without a structure. And what came to mind was scattered bricks. Are important, but if they're not in a certain structure, they are no value and they can't be used. And today, we'll be having a conversation of how to structure the speech in a way that is consumable. And looking at why organize your speech. When you decide what to put where in a speech, because you can have so many thoughts, and it's important when you have a topic to have so many thoughts around it. And I'm speaking this from a background of realization that when you are getting a speech, you've already decided what you want to say in the speech. The message, the promise you would want to give to your audience. And when you have organized it in a certain way that points build on each other, they are less flow. You've decided this is how I begin, this is how I end, this is how I build the overall picture. There's clarity of message. When you're organized also, people see that you are credible because you've taken time to think through a particular idea, put it in place in a way that it builds up, then you must understand it. So you gain credibility. You are interesting because you have flow and ideas are put in a way that reaches and connects to the audience, and your speech becomes memorable. And it's not obvious to put a speech together. It's not obvious. And going back to the sketch where you have listed your points, you've put down your ideas. And the first question is, what sits where? And I'll be discussing the different parts of a speech and the impact they have to the audience or to the message you pass across. We have the introduction, and this is a place where you grab the audience attention. We have a body, and in the body where we have supporting ideas that support the core idea that you have in place. And we have a conclusion where you reinforce the main points and leave a lasting impression in the minds of your audience. Back to the sketch. The many ideas that you have put in place. For example, if you were speaking about excellence, perhaps people need to be trained, they need to own their job. And the question is, all those ideas, what sits where for impact? Because they can't alternate. What sits in the introduction may not be able to fit in the body or fit in the conclusion. And so while we are having this conversation is so for that sketch that you have is to guide how you order what sits where for impact. And we move to the introduction. The hook. You see, when you start up as a speaker, there's so many people and so many things competing for the attention you have with the audience you have. And the question is, what makes you stand out? What makes them listen to you, as opposed to many other things they need to be doing? And one way is to grab the attention. And if I could just talk about Hitirachi's speech, and that's an assumption that we have all listened to it. He starts by pulling out a rose from the side of his pocket and smells the rose. That is called a prop. It immediately catches your attention and creates curiosity. What is it that he wants to say? It was a red rose, and definitely perhaps the first image that comes to your mind, that it came through my mind then was, it's something about romance, for example. It's something about a friend. Though it turned out totally different. So the question is, how creative can you be with your hook to create a curiosity that allows your audience to lean in instead of check out? So there are many other ways you can hook your audience. You can use a comparing story. You can use a rhetorical question where you ask a question that creates, thoughts that people want answered. And you lay in a way some seeds of what you want to say, what you will answer by giving your speech to the audience. You can give stuttering statistics or a powerful quote. I have many speeches that I said, and there was another speech by Katani Mohammed. I think he was the winner of 2015. And when he was starting his speech, he said that diabetes kills people 3 more times than smoking. He had started with a prop with a smoke in his mouth. And of course, I questioned that because I never thought that is true. Of course, later on, he said he has just made up the statistics. But what do I want to say? He grabs people's attention. Stuttering statistics also grab people's attention. So the question is, what is the nature of your speech? Because the nature of your speech determines what you use as a hook. In the introduction also, there is the aspect of what is in it for me. Because you could have a powerful, powerful story or speech. If you came to me, if I was in an audience, people are talking about rugby, for example, I would definitely not be listening. One, I have no interest. I have never had interest with the game. Perhaps if one of my children or somebody that get close to me started talking about rugby, maybe I would be interested, but for now, I am not. So the first thing that is so important in your introduction is how relevant is your speech to your audience, because that's what pulls them closer to listening to you. Credibility is something else that is so important, because if I sat here and told you I'm talking about organizing a speech, and I had it from a friend when they were discussing it in the office, immediately I would just cut off your interest. I mean, you don't know anything. This is hearsay. It may not be true. I am not credible enough to take your time to speak about that topic. And so in the conversation, what is important is, how have you experienced what you're talking about? Are you a professor in it? Have you experienced it? How do you relate with the content? Because that, especially when you're giving facts, like telling people that diabetes kills more people than smoking. If you then go ahead and call yourself Dr. X or Y, then people want to lean in. But if they find out that I have been working as a cleaner in the hospital, then they would quickly want to dismiss me. And what is core in the introduction is the promise, the overarching idea. That is what people sit in to understand. What is it that I will get if I listen to this particular speech? So that's what sits in the introduction. And when one of it is lacking, in a way, the speech starts sagging. In a way, people start getting disconnected. People get confused. People are not sure what direction are we moving to. And we move into the body. And in the body, that's where we have the supporting ideas to the promise, to the overarching idea. And one thing about the body is you can have 2 to 5 ideas that support the main points. But one thing that is a caution is it should be a dumping site of information because you want to make it memorable. And there's an unwritten rule of 3. So as much as possible, try to keep it to 3 main points. And also, it's not a place to just dump points. They need to be connected to the premise. They need to show how what you said is true or false, or what you want us to do. And so when you have a main point in the body, it needs to be clarified, it needs to be emphasized, it needs proof. And again here, what matters most is the type of speech you're giving. If it is informational speech, then things around facts, expert opinion count, statistics count to support your idea. But if you're having a persuasive speech, for example, then you need to read more on stories, on experience, because then that way you connect with people in a way that they would feel the change, if you want them to change. One more thing that is important in the core of the speech in the body is the transitions, how you're moving from one point to another. Because again, I want you to imagine going for a meal where there's a starter, there's a main meal, and there's a dessert, and you just have one plate. You go put the starter in it, you go put the main meal in it, and the dessert. I'm not sure you'll be able to even eat what is on the plate. And one way of ensuring that people understand where you're at is transitions. Moving from one point to the other, moving from one session of the speech to another allows people to walk with you, to flow with you, and enhances understanding and the build-up to what you want them to do. So part of consideration is the transition from one level of a speech to the other. Moving on to the third part of a speech is the conclusion, where you finished up with a speech. And a disclaimer of this point is this is not the place to say what you forgot to say at the beginning. This is not where to introduce the joke because it was so nice and you forgot about it, or you forgot a point in the body and would have supported the premise so well, and then you'd want to put it here, then you would distort, again, the structure. It would dilute your message, and definitely it would steal your credibility. In the conclusion, this is where you are summing up what you just said. And part of it is signaling we're just about to close. That way, you prepare the mind to settle what they have learned. And this is where you restate what you've already said. Somebody mentioned here, I think it's Rivero, that part of a speech is tell them what you tell them, then tell them what you've told them. So the introduction is tell them what you tell them. The body is tell them. This is the conclusion. Tell them what you've told them. So you summarize the main points. And if you have a persuasive speech, this is the place to call to action. This is a place to ask people to do something with what they have learned, with what they expect. You expect them to do with the information that you have given. And one way to finish a speech is on a cliff with something that is memorable. Leave it with a clincher, such a way that's the takeaway. Leave people at a high in such a way that each time the message you gave leaves rent-free in your mind. When they remember that, they can go back and get the whole point of your speech. So you can use a quote, you can use a beautiful heading, you can use a call to action, you can ask a question, but leave it memorable in the minds of people. We are all giving speeches every day. And my call to action today is ensure that your speech is not just a bunch of beautiful pieces of messages grouped together. My ask of you is have a structure, have an idea of what you want to put in the opening, in the body, and in the conclusion in such a way that the message then remains memorable, understandable, it becomes more clear, and it passes the message to the audience as intended. And as Patricia Fripp who said, when speaking in public, your message, no matter how important, will not be effective or memorable if you don't have a clear structure. Looking forward to have more speeches that have structure and that remain memorable to your audience. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Wahiga, wow, you really presented a memorable speech with a hook. Thank you. Dear guests, we have been privileged to hear from 5 remarkable and seasoned speakers who each delivered an inspiring speech covering a range of topics from changing your priorities to emphasizing that with a spine and being in the student chair, we will harness the power of yes to become congruent and lead with authenticity. Thank you very much. Each speaker brought fresh ideas and powerful insights from their own fields. Are you now ready? Inspired, challenged, and energized? Let Leadership Speak be your platform for leading with authenticity. And guess what? I invite you again to sign the guest book. Thank you very much. And while we are doing that, Madam Timer, would you kindly please put the times into the chat box? And the Zoom Master, please launch the poll for the best effort speaker. Thank you very much. Have you all voted? Thank you. My last comments is authenticity will not hold us back. It drives us forward purposefully, and this willingness to change becomes infectious. All our speakers and role players have their flags in our background. And now the UAE flag will be hoisted. I'm handing over to another authentic leader, our General Evaluator, Vinod. He is also a charter member of Leadership Speak, and he joined Toastmasters in 2015. Leadership roles, District Past Director, and Toastmaster leadership is his forte. He works as a sales director in the UAE and has been there for 20 years. Guess what? He was the first runner-up 2025 in a District 127 evaluations contest. No wonder he can evaluate excellently. Over to you, Vinod.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hannah, for conducting the amazing session. Now I will take the baton from here. Ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters and guests, I am the General Evaluator. I will be leading this session, and what you will be going to see, what you will be seeing in this session is, I will be calling on experienced and seasoned Toastmasters who have connected with all their speakers before their meeting so that they were congruent with the goals and are in alignment. And you will see that when you see the evaluations. So we in Leadership Speak, we evaluate everything: the toast, the Toastmaster of the day, the speakers. And then there will be the timer will be presenting the report along with the launch for the best effort speaker for the evaluation. And then we will see the grammarian's report. So the first person, and I had asked everyone their 2 cents on the theme. So I will be introducing all the evaluators by calling them and by telling what they thought about the theme. And they have shared with me what they want me to focus on in their evaluation. I will be quietly focusing on that. So our first evaluator who would be coming up today is Nocawe Nkosi, who would be evaluating the host. And she says about the theme, it is a call for leaders to lead with clarity, not titles. Toastmaster Nocawe, the screen is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Evaluator. Well done to Toastmaster Lim. Your speech had a congruent message. It left a clear message for me that it is very crucial for a leader to lead with authenticity, even when it feels so impossible. You were effective in connecting with your audience. The stories that you shared, they were personal, they were relevant, and they made it clear and easier for me to understand the theme, which means you've introduced the theme very well through your speech. Your smile captured my attention, so I was obliged to listen to you because of how you attracted me to yourself. What you may want to work on is the background. You presented very well. Your outfit fitted very well with the color of the background, but you might want to use a plain background because the picture in the background was somehow distractive a bit for me. Lastly, your body language actually expressed what you were saying, which made it easy for me as an audience to follow through what you were saying. In summary, the logic of your speech was clear. You connected very well with the audience through your personal stories. You might want to work on the background. Your body language was effectively aligned to what you were saying. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Nocawe. That really was a constructive feedback as you had told me to focus on. And the recommendation that you have given, I also had written something similar that the Zoom background was the key thing. And there was one more thing which I would like to add. The speaker was looking down. I could feel, even though when she was standing, we say that the lens should always be at the shoulder level. And second, the lens is the eye. I felt the speaker was looking at the audience. So it felt like she was looking down. That was the only thing that I felt. And what an innovative idea to give a toast with milk. That I will remember. This is the first time I saw that. That was a very innovative idea. Thank you, Alin. Thanks, Nocawe. Now, our second evaluator who would be evaluating our captain of the ship for today, the Toastmaster of the day, is Nelly Iodo. And what Nelly thinks about the theme, she says that authenticity is about being genuine, ethical, and self aware. It is about having trust and meaningful relationships. Please put your hands together to welcome Nelly Iodo on the screen. Nelly, the screen is all yours.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Vinod. Hannah, your introduction was articulate and respectful. You highlighted each speaker's purpose and contributed without overshadowing them. This is the hallmark of refined leadership. You demonstrated control of timing while maintaining warmth and presence, which is not an easy balance to achieve. You traversed the earth by introducing the speakers very seamlessly. Your transitions were smoother than silk, and you handled each segment with finesse. You may want to work on your gestures. You kept holding your shin or your neck, and that took away from the very good experience that we were having with you. All in all, you had a very good introduction of all the speakers, especially the general evaluator. You went into depth telling us about Vinod's accolades. You exemplified professionalism, preparedness, and the role was very polished. You did not simply manage the meeting, you elated it. Thank you for your exemplary leadership this evening. Back to you, Toastmaster Vinod.
Thank you very much, Nelly. That was very quick and to the point. Hana elated the meeting. I completely agree with you. And I will share my 2 cents of what you had told me. You had told me to look at your eye contact, delivery, and connection. And now I understand why you said that. Because I feel that your camera is somewhere here. And when you speak like this, it is difficult to connect, and it feels like you're reading from somewhere where you may not be doing that. So basically, a good thumb rule is one hand distance from the camera. So if you keep a hand distance and then adjust your screen, it becomes much better and it feels like we are sitting in a chair. But as you are self-aware of what you are doing, I really appreciate. For the next time, make sure that you use one hand distance and give your recommendation. That would be very impactful because you have a good eye and observation skill. Thank you, Nelly, for that. Now, we will go to our education speaker. And our education speaker would be evaluated by Toastmaster Joyce. Her reflection on the theme is, she says, I believe authentic leaders earn trust through vulnerability and reliability as opposed to positional power. Please put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Joyce. The screen is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. G.E. And this evening, I'm elated to be evaluating Robin. So Robin asked me to check on his tone of variation as well as the sense of humor. Robin, you started with a personal story, a story that connected with most of us in the room, if not all. I'm an accountant by profession, so that connected with me very, very well. You also went ahead and reminded us throughout your speech about authenticity. That is a speech, or rather the topic of today's meeting. You also told us about morals and how you were not very happy when you saw accountants in wrong direction. And in conclusion, you posed a question, which was a point of reflection for each one of us. And I'll just highlight something that caught my eye, that you affirmed us to get through to a person. We don't need to be where we are. We just need to get connected with that other person. So what did you excel this evening? Your speech had a tone of variation. Throughout the speech, you had places where you went high and others you went low. I didn't feel any monotone. So that's something that you excelled very well. The second thing is that your speech was personalized. It connected with us. With the professions that we have at Leadership Speak, we felt that we connected, and you kept on reminding us about leadership with authenticity. So what you may need to work on tonight is about eye contact. I felt like you're reading from somewhere. And at some point, we also saw you flipping on some papers. That's all right. But what I would recommend is that you may want to put your notes in front of you so that we can connect. Being a Zoom meeting, we would want to connect with your eyes. Secondly, is your Zoom presence. You seemed like you're in one place. when you're connecting, there's somewhere you could actually step one step behind and you can move around the Zoom present so we could see your gestures and also connect with us. All in all, that was very good. We got the message today about leadership with authenticity, and you may proceed to the next project. Back to you, Mr. GE.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Joyce. That was also quick and to the point. You mentioned eye contact and Zoom presence and which are both actionable and relevant suggestions. And you also summarized. What I would like to see in your next evaluation is straightly get to the point. What is it that you like? Because I felt in the beginning you spent some time that the speaker aligned with the theme and reflection, and then you went, the tone was very good and all this thing. So what was good, I would like to hear immediately in 45 seconds, and then explanation about in which part of the speech that was good. So whenever we make a point, make the point and explain it a little bit, that this part was good, and smile. Just smile, that's fine. Like what you say. No, Robin, we know he may be like that, but please don't like what you say, do the evaluation same like him. And I loved the speech. My 2 cents on Robin's speech. I am 100% with you, Robin, on whatever you said. I completely agree. And with institutions, it is very difficult, especially even Toastmasters is a 100-year-old organization, but it's in a neonatal stage of rocking the boat conversation. We need a path called as difficult conversation so that the club leaders will start to do that. Thank you very much today for bringing that to the notice. Thank you very much for that. Now, and thank you very much, Joyce, for your smile and for that valuable information, evaluation. So our next speaker who will be evaluating Toastmaster Ray, our first speaker, is Toastmaster Mary. Now, Mary says, leadership emerges when our inner values are perfectly congruent with our public action. Please put your hands together to welcome Mary Cousin. Mary, the screen is yours.
Changing priorities from contests to leadership. Rivero has just taken us on a profound journey from the high-stake competition stage to the strategic leadership table. He delivered a speech that didn't just entertain us, but commanded us to witness a genuine personal transformation. To honor this masterclass, I will evaluate Ray's speech through 3 specific lenses: how deeply he connected with the audience, how effectively his organization guided our journeys, and how masterfully his tools of the trade served his core message. Audience connection. Ray, your greatest strength today was your ability to erase the distance between your personal story and our collective experience. When you mentioned the family vacations, I physically felt the room lean in. That specific nostalgic detail transformed a personal anecdote into a universal truth. Furthermore, you brilliantly leverage the negotiation as a meta commentary to frame this very contest speech. My piece of advice for you: you stay looked inside your own inner world. To elevate this from great to unforgettable, try adding a single deliberate question to the audience, such as have you ever felt that exactly shift? The audience wants to celebrate with you, right? Not just spectate. Speech organization. Structurally, your macro arc was flawless. We moved seamlessly from the high pressure world of competition to your pivotal breakthrough and straight into your ultimate realization about leadership. We never felt less. This structural clarity peaked when you detailed the new pathways updates you integrated while negotiating with Toastmaster International, punctuated by your powerful confession, "It's my blame." My recommendation for growth look closely at the transition between these two sections. Right now, you tell us that a change occurred, but you don't explain why. In just one causal sentence like, I realized that winning alone could not longer sustain me. We transfer that moment from a simple shift in topic into an undeniable logical argument. Tools of the trade. What struck me most was your sophisticated use of the digital stage. You beautifully illustrated stepping out of your comfort zone by physically stepping out of webcam frames you yet kept us anchored by entirely through your vocal control. This wasn't just a gimmick. It showed a speaker who used space as an argument. Your physical proximity to the lens while repeating the leitmotif, it's my blame, was pure theatrical congruence. So, for the next level, it will be nice to give a more heavy pause. You have exceptional vocal variety, but right after the climax, give us 3 full seconds of silence. Let the emotional weight of your realization land. This tool is already in your arsenal. You just need to deploy it at the moment of the iron tension. To summarize, we established an authentic connection through an universal storytelling, giving us why a structurally sound arc and weapons the webcam frame to bring this message to life. Rather than one transition, hold that emotional pause on this speech become unstateable. The most significant shift in any journey is not the achievement, it's the moment we stop asking how far we have come and start asking who else we can take us with us. Changing my priority from my evaluation to back to you, Vinod, our general evaluator.
Thank you very much, Mary. I believe you are a very good observer because you observed the last two evaluators only spoke till green. So you made sure you used that spending time and took all those 1.5, 2.5 minutes to give that extra suggestion. That's why I said that. I liked two things that you mentioned for suggestion. One is pausing for 3 seconds before the speech. And second was asking questions and including the audience. So that was very useful, which can be used. You made a claim that the speech was transformational. So when you make a claim, you need to prove that. After that, you went into 1, 2, 3, and then there were a lot of other things. So I feel be very like in a nutshell, what was it the speaker was good at? What can be better, and summarize. That would be a very easy thing. You did that, but in bits and pieces because you wanted to be more of a balance evaluator. That is what you had mentioned to me. But look at the time. Please do make sure and quickly 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then summarize. You have amazing observation skills in a real way also. Thank you very much, Mary. So our next evaluator is Toastmaster Rozy Rana. She would be evaluating Toastmaster Rashmi, and Toastmaster. Yes, just a second. And Toastmaster Rozy says, authentic leaders build trust. A leader's greatest asset, while diplomacy has its place, authenticity should never be compromised. Did I call Kanav? Or Kanav is the second evaluator? Yeah, thank you very much. With your smile, I realized that, like what you say, Toastmaster DTM Rozy, that there was something wrong, but it's okay. I will manage it. Please put your hands together and welcome Toastmaster Kanav, who will be evaluating Toastmaster Ghada. Toastmaster Kanav said, being authentic means avoiding the mask that society often tries to place upon us. Authentic leader comes from being true to who we are, rather than becoming who others expect us to be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on the screen Toastmaster Kanau. The screen is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vinod. Write a different story. That was the main lesson of the speech which we heard. And it resonates with me with my favorite psychologist theory, which is repetition compulsion. She talked about how she went on repeating things, and we never learn new things. That's is the basic message of the story. It flew very well. Good things were the message was really clear. We could get the message. Hand gestures. She could clearly say that it's forward facing when she was saying the chair, learner chair is forward facing. So she did that. When it is for victim chair, it is backward. So she did her hand gestures in that way. So I really like those things. Coming to certain expectation as to what can be improved. First thing being the speech title was the student chair, and she talked about the victim chair. Speech title was the student chair, and she talked about learner chair. So either the speech title should be changed or the learner chair should be talked at the student chair. So there was a little diffusion between the topic and the message. Second, which I would you can differentiate between the two chairs by coming to the left side or right, whichever you like. Left, you can say about the victim, right, about the learner chair. So that can differentiate. So if you want to say the victim, they don't want to learn anything, they stay here, they stay. And then you can go to the right side of the screen and just say that it is forward moving and it teaches us. That's it. So there is a difference between the two. And last suggestion which I would like to give is you started with I have faced lot many challenges. I did not learn. I just wanted to have the same ending that did you learn anything? So a lack of personal story, I felt you could add certain personal story to the speech to make it brilliant. Otherwise, the speech was messagically really good. The voice clarity was really good. Just working on three things, which I have mentioned: the left and right, the correctness of speech, and finally the the chair. And yeah, that's it from my side. Back to General Evaluator, Vinod.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kanav. What I liked about your evaluation was the opening where you used a research terminology called repetition compulsion. That hooked me because I love research. So something of that type, and it was very relevant, like because the speaker was repeating, and it helped us to remember that. And your evaluation also had more suggestions. So being an advanced club, I definitely liked it. The first one was logical fallacy, the title and the actual thing. You said it was not matching, but I felt the speaker would think the student is a learner only. That's why it might be done. But I like the logic that you picked up, that it can be better. Creating a separation, I felt even she could have used a prop, an actual chair, where the two chairs could be done. It would have been taken the speech to the next level. The third that you mentioned was, which is usually used in comedy dramas or something. If a hero is alone in the beginning, he gets married. If he is married, he gets divorced. Whatever it is, it will always be the contrast. So you mentioned three good suggestion over there, and amazing shirt and amazing background. It feels all the butterflies are there on the wall. Thank you very much, Kana, for that useful observations. Thank you. So our next evaluator now is Toastmaster Rozy Rana, DTM Rozy Rana. She says, authentic leaders build trust. A leader's greatest asset, while diplomacy has its place, authenticity should never be compromised. Please put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Rozy Rana. The screen is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and Rashmi. Thank you for your speech, The Power of Yes. Before the speech, you asked me to look at two things. And since this is a speech about giving feedback, allow me to give you feedback largely around those two, which is whether your message landed and whether your structure supported your message. Well, first, your message landed very, very clearly. Through your personal journey, you showed us how saying yes opened doors, gave you growth, showed you opportunity that you could have otherwise missed. From overcoming your self-doubt, you showed your aspirations to become a good speaker as a young girl, and how saying yes to Toastmasters and then saying yes to Leadership Speak has made you more confident, a better listener, and even an influencer. So very, very well done. Regarding the structure, again, you took us chronologically through your journey. It was easy to follow, and I particularly liked that you wrapped up by calling upon us, tapping into our lives, asking us whether there were areas that we needed to say yes to grow and to understand. You used a memorable framework by using YES as an acronym. It was a bit short, but it made your speech memorable, the Y, and particularly the E, exploring opportunities or possibilities for growth, and the S, saying yes. For future speeches, so in other words, the two elements that you wanted me to look out for, very, very well done. The areas I would recommend for suggestions for growth is consider adding dialogue. Your story had a lot of narration, and while it was engaging and we enjoyed it from the young girl all the way to the growth, dialogue would make it really powerful and memorable, especially your self-doubt. Can I ever become a speaker? Put a name to it, make it more specific, somebody you really heard and, that stood out for you. Dialogue kind of brings these key moments to life for us. Secondly, while you showed how you have become better at Toastmasters, true growth is how you've been able to apply these lessons. So I would have liked you to add, it would have been more powerful had you shared how your confidence, your listening skills, your ability to influence is helping you outside of Toastmasters, right? In your personal life or in your career, and the impact, because this was a beautiful testimonial, something you can use in open houses, but if you add it and add the relevance to outside Toastmasters, it will be even more powerful. So all in all, congratulations on a beautiful delivery. You were authentic, relatable. Toastmasters is something we all believe in. So we learn, we understand, we appreciate your message. I recommend you use dialogue. I recommend you take it beyond Toastmasters so we truly, truly feel the impact. Congratulations on a beautiful delivery, and back to you, GE.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Rozy. That was effective evaluation because you followed the path that we always say in Leadership Speak. First, attack the message. What was the message, then the structure, then the gestures. Usually, like that is what all our education sessions have also been on evaluation. So you straight away went and spoke about the message and it landed and what it was, means encouraging the speaker. Then about the structure, it was a chronological 1, 2, 3, 4 in a sequence. So it was easy to understand. I liked the your both were very effective, means point of improvements. You gave explanation, and that is what we need from an evaluator. When you give an point, explain that, like how to do that or what can be done. One thing which I would like to add is the Zoom presence of Rashmi, because I could only see her shoulder. It felt like she was in water and was trying to, like, her movement was like this, like trying to get up from the water. So that it can be, she can be 3 step back. That was the only one thing that I noted. Apart from that, amazing, and thank you for that evaluation. Our last evaluator, who would be evaluating the speaker is Helen. And Helen says, authentic leadership requires the courage to speak the truth with respect, even when it is uncomfortable. True leaders build trust by staying grounded in their values and communicating with integrity. Toastmaster Helen will be evaluating Wahiga. The screen is all yours, Helen.
Thank you very much, Ji. Wahiga, thank you for your presentation. Organize your speech. You asked me to focus on presentation style, clarity, and personalization of content. One thing I really appreciated was your clarity. You taught us how about organizing a speech, and your speech itself was organized. By walking us through the introduction, body, and conclusion, you help us follow your message easily and demonstrated the very principle you were teaching. And I also enjoyed your personalization and presentation style. Your story about struggling with many ideas competing for attention make the topic relatable. The image of scattered bricks and the analogy of a meal with different courses were memorable and helped bring your message to life. And one suggestion for future speeches would be to focus on brevity and emphasis. I heard some ideas were explained several times. And by tightening those sections and adding a few more pauses after a powerful statement, you would give the audience more time to observe your key message and make them even more impactful. Wahiga, your speech was educational, practical, and engaging. You reminded us that even great ideas need structure if they are to be understood and remembered. And thank you for an excellent presentation, and I look forward to hearing your next speech. Back to you, GA.
Thank you very much, Helen, for your observation, sharing your observation. And one of the suggestions that you gave was to use pause. What I personally felt, what can be, because being an advanced Toastmasters club, using the slides of Toastmasters, what they have given, that is a very basic thing. And Wahiga, you are a very powerful speaker. If you are using this same presentation anywhere else, I would recommend that instead of going through all the slides, give 5 or 6 different types of opening, give 4 or 5 different types of body, give 6 or 7 different types of closing. That would be more helpful to the advanced speakers, because that particular slide is very basic. You did your addition by adding Mohammad Katani, or you could have added 3 more speakers. Tuck, tuck, tuck. This was one, I believe, Microsoft, a TED Talk, Microsoft, the CEO, Bill Gates, took this mosquitoes to show the dengue effect something, and he opened it. That was a very high impact one. But any 3 example of for each would have been more impactful. I felt you wanted to go through the slides and take your time, and you just added 1 or 2. I would request is organizing, give 6 or 7 different types of opening, 4 or 5 different types of body approach, and 6 or 7 different types of closing with one example that not many Toastmasters have seen. That would be really more powerful. But both the speakers and the evaluators, you were in congruence, and thank you very much for that. Now I would request the timers report. Nelly Jane, Toastmaster. Yeah, she's already put the timer, and I would request our Zoom master to share the voting or the poll for the best effort evaluator before I call on our grammarian? Now I would request our grammarian who is observing the meeting very carefully with her word of the day, how many people have used and what all has gone good and what could have been gone better. She will be presenting her report. Toastmaster Joyce, the screen is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. G. I'm back again. So I had 6 people use the word of the day. Congratulations. I had Nocawe, had Hannah, Ray, Rozy, our GE Vinod twice. And yes, so Hannah is my star today. She's used it 3 times. I'm also excited to report that people used that we call it King's language since the Queen already died. So our English today was very, very well used. So I just pick a few of the words that or synonyms that I picked. So we had Ray saying every leadership opportunity presents itself. He also picked another door that I had that seemed more accessible. We also had Ghada, who also said a lesson understood is a mistake that cannot be repeated. Rozy also used true growth is how you can apply these lessons. There's also something that I would want to recommend. One speaker said slowly, slowly. Maybe another way to put it across is little by little or step by step. And also citing your date, sitting by the door, you could say standing at your door, because I believe when you want to open a door, you're standing at the door, you're not sitting at the door. Back to you, GE.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Joyce. And now I will be presenting my report. Thank you very much to the panel of evaluators who have done a great job today. Now, the theme, leading with authenticity, meeting number 226. Meeting started today on top of all the groups, chats, and everything that this needs to be done in this way. The practice session was attended by a lot of members, the speakers, and the exchanges were happening, what needs to be focused on. So great. That was something which I always look up to in leadership speak. The roles were filled, proactive meeting attended. The TMOD and greeter came 30 minutes before the meeting started. So that is something commending, which we should all give a great, like what you say, no, applause for all. Let's give an applause to the Toastmaster and the greeter. Vince Lombardini said, if on time is late, you should always be before. I came 5 minutes before. That's a different thing. So first the Surgeon at Arms came and she read the script. One suggestion for the Surgeon at Arms, it is that every introduction is a 45-second speech. So, and the purpose of any introduction is to take them high and make them fly. So when we introduce and when we call someone on the screen, the purpose is they should be pumped up for that particular role. So I felt that one introduction could have been better. You can pump that energy to introduce our Toastmaster of the day. Other than that, we all are learning. So that's a good thing. I will not comment anything else. Then second thing which I observed where there were 2 role players, Joyce and Helen, who have taken multiple roles. A club, I understand there are many times many speakers back out and all these things happen, but I would recommend that at least till our practice meeting Thursday, if anybody is able to fill the role, we may change the agenda. You can have that option so that more and more people can get roles instead of being conveniently filling with whom we can easily, like what you say, no, do that. Now, the Zoom master, one of the guests who came had an agenda and it was very well taken care of because it is also a part of learning. One of the speeches or actually one of the projects that you will be how to manage different types of guests or different type of people when you are a facilitator. So that was done a little late, but still it was done. So good job over there. I liked our PR and Toastmaster of Day's congruence today. Toastmaster of the day was saying, and you fill, and there was the guest, like what is the link was there. The second time also I observed before Hana said, please fill, and there was this form. So amazing job, Ghada, that you are doing. Even before Hana was saying, you were putting it on the, like what you say, no, the meeting. So as always, I love these meetings. What I feel is if I take all the speeches and put it in an AI software and look at the rhythm of the speeches, it would not be going much up or low. It would be a little bit horizontal with slight going up and down. I would request all the speakers to really work on giving speeches which are vulnerable, and if it is personal story, use emotions to see the spikes that goes ups and down, because the purpose of any story is to elicit emotions. This is what Michael Higgs says, one of the directors, and I see a little bit, there is a lot of much improved effort that I can see, but still, as I say, it can be much better up and down. You can use props. World champion Ramona Smith, when she came to a leadership speak, she had given these suggestions. She also said that most speeches were okay, but didn't had that spice. Like to add up spice, have a good organizing hook, like Wahiga said, do something crazy thing, right? So something like our toast did milk in hand. Right? We observe that something different completely. So I felt that can be different. Three of the evaluators could not complete all the 3 minutes. One evaluator completed 4 minutes. So managing time is very important. Your suggestions should start before the, I mean, what you say, yellow starts, because you need at least 90 seconds for giving one suggestion and elaborating about it. So I would request to work on that. An amazing team, as usual, amazing meeting. So let me give back to the person who loves to spread the message of water scarcity in the world, to my favorite speaker in Toastmaster Leadership Speak, Toastmaster Hana. The screen is back to you.
Thank you very much, Vinod, for that in-depth evaluation of your evaluations, etc., and getting those evaluators to speak about it. Now we globe hop to Canada. And before our president speaks to our esteemed guests, Tony from Canada will close off with the thought of the day. Over to you, Tony.
Okay, thank you. Today's theme is leading with authenticity. It invited us to reflect on leadership. Now, as you know, Toastmasters International slogan is, where leaders are made. Now, that expression comes from Warren Bennis, one of the great thinkers on leadership, who long ago said that leaders are not simply born, they are made, and they are made through learning, experience, and practice. It was really big on that, practice. He emphasized that becoming a leader is closely connected with becoming yourself. And you know, it was Socrates who said, know thyself. So these concepts suggest that we make sure we know who we are, what we value, and whether our words and actions truly reflect our values. Now, together, these ideas remind us that authenticity is not a performance. It is congruent with practice, and even more practice. And it was Aristotle who believed that practice forms our habits. Our habits create our character, and our character creates our future. So, we here at Leadership Speak, we entrench authenticity by repeatedly practicing our values. As our leadership speaker, Robin Stone, demonstrated with his examples when he expressed, his stories, that authentic leaders are not authentic only when it's easy or convenient. They must speak out when something is wrong. As Toastmaster of the Day, you, Hannah Schmidt, earlier said, authenticity often requires courage, not silence. So my thought of the day is this. Authenticity is a leadership model. It begins with knowing who we are. It grows through what we repeatedly do in practice, and it becomes the leadership character others learn to trust. So, if we are honest with ourselves, and if we are courageous when we need to be, then we can and we will lead with authenticity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tony, for your fitting words about authenticity and your thought of the day. Robin, indeed, we have chosen a great theme, authenticity and leadership, because everybody has used it in their speech, sort of in their speech, and it was great. Now I hand over to our president, and he comes from Singapore. So we're really from Canada over to Singapore to speak to the guests. And I don't know when shall we announce the winners? Will you do that?
We can start with that. PR Master, are you ready to announce the winners of our best effort speaker as well as best effort evaluator? PR Master.
Okay, thank you. PR Master, could you please share the results we've been voting for? The results of the best effort speaker and evaluator. Please share them with us that we can celebrate them. Ghada?
Do I have sharing privileges? Yes. Okay. And our best effort speaker is Wahiga Gichinga.
Congratulations, Wahiga.
Wow, super.
Okay. And are you ready now for our best effort evaluator?
Drum roll.
Okay. Drum roll. Rozy Rana.
Congratulations, Rozy.
And back to you.
Thank you very much, Madam PR Master. Now I officially fly over to Singapore to hand over the baton to our president. Over to you, Holmes.
Thank you so much, TMOD Hannah, who is no stranger to Singapore, and I look forward to meeting you again. To you coming back to Singapore one day.
I will.
All right, let's have a bit of time to interact with some of our guests. Guests, if you are able, it would be wonderful if you could have both your camera as well as a microphone on when I call upon you. If for any reason it's not, it's okay. We're more than happy that you are here with us as the most important people in our meeting room. That's it. Margaret Dawson, are you available? Hello, Margaret, how are you? How do you find the meeting today? Where are you from? Margaret, you're muted. Are you able to unmute yourself? Hey, yes, I hear you.
From Barbados.
Ah, welcome.
Hey.
How do you find out about our club?
I've been here, let me see, probably about 3 or 4 times because sometimes it clashes, but every time I come, it's enjoyable.
Wonderful. How do you find about the meeting today?
It was great. I like the topic.
Good.
I totally enjoy the topic. So I can learn some things from that and go with it. So thanks for having me.
Excellent, Margaret. Please continue to be with us. Would you consider becoming a member, Margaret?
Considering is good.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, let us know. Okay, Margaret?
Okay, will do.
Thank you so much, Margaret. I appreciate your presence here. Please continue to visit us whenever you can.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Let's see. Muhammad Salihu Aliyu. Muhammad, are you available? Muhammad? Hello, Muhammad. Where are you from? How do you hear about our club? Muhammad, I cannot hear you. There seems to be some issues with your microphone. Would you like to try again? Nope, I'm not able to hear you.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
I'm hearing.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Excellent. Yes. Where are you from? How do you hear about our club?
Yeah, I'm from South Africa.
Wow.
I've been here, I think, 2 to 3 times, though it's been clashing with some of my programs here in SA. So, but whenever I have the chance, I do join and I enjoy the sessions.
How was the meeting for you today?
Yeah, it was really insightful, and I have a number of takeaways. Let me say, yeah.
Would you mind sharing one of the takeaways with us? What is your key takeaway?
Yeah, from the speaker that talk about organizing speech. I think one of the most important thing I got from her is the hook. That's when it comes to introduction. The hook, that's a compelling story or the props, rhetoric, questions or quotes. So that really got me. Then the concluding part of her speech also, she talked about that, and it was really insightful, and so it was educating as well. Yeah.
Glad you enjoyed the speech and learned from our member Wahiga, Gichinga. And I do hear that you have some clashes and commitment clashes between leadership speak meetings and other of your commitments. But nevertheless, if you manage to sort it out and you're interested to join the club, let us know. All right?
Yeah. I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. It's our pleasure to have you here. As and when you're available, please continue to visit us.
I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mohammed.
You're welcome.
Sophia Nchga. Sophia Nchga, are you available? Sophia?
Sophia Jenga.
Oh, Sophia Jenga, are you available?
Yes, that's how it's pronounced. Yes, listening in from Mombasa, Kenya.
Welcome.
I usually attend your meeting. Currently, I'm a member of Zumaridi Toastmasters. And I've enjoyed the session. I've equally learned quite a lot, especially in preparing my speech. in the various stages that I have to write it and present it, and equally presenting it with the hook. I'm still I have still not decided to join your club, because I also have some engagements other than the club roles that I'm playing. But I'll continue following up on your meetings and joining in whenever I'm available. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Sophia. It is our honor to continue to have you here. Please continue to visit us. And when one day you are available, you are ready, sound us off and we can have a chat. The executive committee then will have a chat with you to see whether there will be a good fit so that Leadership Speak can serve and we can grow together, become better self-directed leaders. To guests, there are some of you I didn't call upon. If you are available, please continue to stay with us post-meeting. We can have a post-meeting conversation. And here, a shout out to all members as well as guests, including those who may be watching on YouTube. Leadership Speak is a club that's entirely focused on leadership development. That is our core focus. And each and every meeting, that is what we want to talk about. That is what we want to discuss. That is what we want to gain from. So if leadership development, becoming a leader, it's something that's called to your heart, that's something you want to improve, that's something you want to work on in your community, there's people that you want to influence, that in itself is a call. Do consider Leadership Speak, because leadership development is not a lone wolf journey. It is a journey that you require a community with. And this club may be one of the best opportunities, one of the best communities around for you. Do consider this. With that, thank you so much. I'd like to hand back the time to our TMOD, Hannah, to officially close this chapter meeting, as well as to lead the post-meeting discussion. TMOD, please.
Thank you very much, President Holmes. Here's to Toastmasters starting for the new year, new Toastmasters year on the 1st of July, which will propel us forward to speak boldly, lead bravely, and be authentic. And may the rest of 2026 be a year where your confidence grows, your voice strengthens, and your leadership style shines. And this is all happening where? At Leadership Speak. Thank you very much for all the role players, speakers, and evaluators for a fantastic meeting. Thank you, President Holmes, for connecting with the visitors and guests, and I hope lots of people have signed the guest book to become authentic leaders. As your Toastmaster of the day, I wish you all a pleasant weekend. And by the powers invested in me, I officially adjourn the meeting. Madam Zuma, sorry, please stop the recording. Thank you.